Hello everybody, Mike Brailsford with Brailsford Works. Thank you for joining back on my channel. I do appreciate it. So right now my wife and I are redecorating the house. We're having a baby shower for my daughter next week and we wanted to get a bunch of stuff done before then. And we have to put our artwork back up, but first I need to build some shelves to put some other things up before then. So my father has built over the years these boats and he has started to give them away. I have 4 of them. He likes to do work boats, so we have a tugboat here, and I'm not sure what kind of work boat this is, but it is a work boat.
Fishing boat.
I also have this sailboat, which is a fishing boat. It's pretty fantastic if you ask me. And also another small tugboat. So I'm going to put them up here. We're going to have one of the big ones right in the middle here, and the small boat down here, and the other 2 big ones will be on either side over here, which also gives us room for artwork underneath it and around it. But to make the shelves, I'm not going to make some big heavy shelves with big brackets. I want to make shelves with they're floating. I want to make floating shelves, and what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do torsion box shelves, and I've got the floating shelf brackets already, and so I'm going to get started with that out in the shop. So here we go. So my idea for these shelves is going to be a torsion box design. They're going to be floating shelves with no visible anchoring. Obviously, that's what floating shelves are. I've got my anchors here. These are the bars. I bought these on Amazon. And so these will mount to the stud, and they will be screwed in nice and tight to a stud, and the shelf will then slide onto it with holes in the back. A torsion box is a way to make a nice light shelf and and still be very, very strong. An aircraft wing is a torsion box. So we're gonna get started on that. I've got some 1/4-inch maple ply, which will be the tops and bottoms to these shelves. I'll create a framework that the maple ply will go on top and bottom of, and I will wrap the whole thing with solid maple on the outside. And I will add a stronger, wider piece inside that I will drill out for the shelf supports. They come with plastic anchors, but yeah, that isn't going to happen. So first things first, we got to rip all of the plywood down to the width that I need. So I'm cross-cutting all of them to the final length that I need, and I added a stop block so they're all the same length. The only ones that will be different is the one short shelf. Now it's time to start processing wood that I need for the framework, and I'm going to utilize more of the pine that I've had since I built my shop. So now I'm going to start laying out the framework to get an idea on how I want it to work. So here I'm laying out the internal bracing to get an idea where I want them. So I decided to change up how I was going to mount the posts that the shelves will slide onto. Instead of mounting them directly to studs on the wall themselves, I'm going to mount it to a cleat and mount the cleat to the wall. That'll make it so I can easily pre-drill it, and so it'll fit onto the shelf in the workshop rather than having to take it in the house and trying to find the studs and see how they'll fit onto the shelves in place. So what I ended up doing is I made the frame a little smaller so that that cleat sits recessed inside the back of the shelf. So now it's time to glue up the shelves. I'm adding a little of my Titebond 3, and then I'll just hit it together with some finish nails. Now it's time to glue on the bottom skin. I apply my Titebond 3, put the plywood on, and then hit it on with some brads. Now I'm marking out where the posts will mount on the cleats so that they will have the best advantage when they go through the back of the shelf. Here I'm cutting a little recess for the post to sit in. Now it's time to mount the posts, which I will drill and screw them in. So now I'm marking on the back of the frame where I have to drill a hole for the posts. I've also changed up how I'm going to mount those. I was going to put in a single piece of wood and drill it lengthwise for the entire post. Now I'm adding a second cleat further out with a single hole. It really only needs the 2 extra spots to be supported. It doesn't need to be supported the entire length. Now it's time to drill those outer supports, and that's what I'm going to do now. Add a little more of the Tight Bond 3, put it in, and shoot it in again with some finish nails. Now it's time to add that top skin. Again, more glue and more brads. On this piece I've already glued on the front maple trim and I'm just clamping it up. On this next shelf I've glued on the two side pieces of trim. I'm removing the clamps and I'm getting ready to glue on the front trim on this one. You can never have enough clamps. Now it's time to get ready to paint, and I'm applying some Fama wood filler to all the little holes and any kind of cracks or anything, and sanding it. I may add more Fama wood between grits. So now it's time to apply some paint. I got a white trim semi-gloss paint with a built-in primer, and I applied 2 coats. And here you can see that I've mounted the cleats and I've dry fit one of the shells before I painted it. So here's the finished product. I've got them all mounted, I got the boats put up, and I've got all my artwork rehung. Leave me comments, tell me what you think. Thank you all for watching.